Thank you for tuning in to the Panda Bear Magic Podcast. A small reminder, please reach out to a loved one because you never know what someone is going through. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Panda Bear Magic Podcast. My name is Rahana. I have a very special guest for you today. He goes by the Astrologer, and his name is Franchel Patton Jr. He's a retired martial arts instructor and third-degree Taekwon-do black belt. Incredible. Astrology and tarot reader. He's been doing that since he was 20 years old. And also an author of Babylon the Great Has Fallen. Hi, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for that great introduction.
Absolutely.
Rahana.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited to interview you today. I know there's been a lot of things happening in the world. I know J Blige came out of nowhere after anyone has seen her for a while and blew the house down at the Super Bowl. And so I thought maybe she was written in the stars for some new things going on in the world.
Yeah. When you mentioned her to me, I looked up her chart and I found that and the Super Bowl's been about a month ago, but during that period, her Jupiter, which is the planet of opportunity and growth, and the sun, which is the most powerful planet in the sky, was transiting her 10th house, which is the house of her public and people seeing her out. And it also activated her 5th house, which she has Leo on the cusp. So Leo on the cusp of the 5th house is very powerful. So she was on fire for the Super Bowl.
Oh, she certainly was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was exciting to see her. I'm excited to see what's going to happen for her moving forward as well. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about Kemetic science and your work in that area as an astrologer and tarot reader.
Okay.
Yeah, so could you give the audience a little bit of information about Kemetic science and the difference in the way astrology works?
Well, I've been an astrologer for a long time, and I never understood how, but for example, I was in a bookstore and when I was about 18 and I bought a deck of cards and it happened to be the Thoth deck, which I still use today. And when I was about 18, I took a Rosicrucian astrology course when there was no computers. So they sent it to me in the mail and I did the lesson and sent it back and they corrected and we go back and forth. And that's how I started learning about astrology.
Wow. Yeah.
And so Kemetic astrology is our ancestors in Kemet, which they live in Kemet, which is now called Egypt. Egypt is now inhabited when controlled by Arabs and Muslims, but it used to be Kemetic Africans. Mm-hmm. And they created astrology, and the oldest zodiac known on the planet is in one of the pyramids called the Dendra zodiac. It's the oldest one. And so Europeans have changed the science. So have people from India, people from China. So every country has taken astrology from the original of our ancestors and changed it to fit their culture.
Interesting.
So, for example, our ancestors didn't use the planet Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune, although they were aware of them. So now European astrology, they say Neptune rules Pisces when really Jupiter rules Pisces. So when you're not using the correct planets, your calculations and interpretations will be a little bit off, although you'll still be able to do things with it because once you understand and you watch how the stars relate to people, you get a feel for it anyway.
And how do you feel that the stars relate to someone's characteristics and things that happen in their life? How important and what are the benefits do you see in the Kemetic astrology that can
Well,
help?
it's a saying that comes from Dehudi, but that everybody quotes: "As above, also below."
Absolutely.
So as above is the solar zodiac in the sky. It's changing. It's changing. Below is you. So you're a zodiac, and you're a zodiac that don't change. At the time of your birth, when you took your first breath, all the existing stellar influences in the sky was imprinted on your genes and your atoms. And that was a permanent picture. So as the above changes, it affects you below.
Mm,
As above, also below.
absolutely. I've heard that before. So,
Yeah, they throw it around quite a bit.
can you tell me a little bit about your journey evolving into Kemetic science? I know you said you
um,
started when you were 20 years old. And so,
uh-huh.
how has it
I,
led
yeah,
your life to where you're at right now?
uh, well, I'm 72 now, so I've been I went through a lot of things. I've probably since I was 35, I've been teaching martial arts mostly to kids, but I was like a kid, the kid when I grew up watching karate movies, and I said I want to be a karate master and have my own dojo. I was like that kid, and I kind of never really grew up. So so
Maybe
my
we
my
shouldn't.
son
Maybe we shouldn't.
so my son, he's a second degree black belt. I'm a third degree black. As you get older in martial arts, you go from teaching younger people to teaching younger kids. So my last job was in Omaha, Nebraska. I worked for the public school system. So for the daycare, and they did a karate program for the kids. So we would teach the kindergarten through sixth, seventh grade, and my son would help me. He would lead the class and under my supervision. And I worked for the YMCA, doing martial arts. I got a few videos on YouTube, uh, but yeah, it was like a dream. I was living my dream.
Absolutely. I think that's what we all should do. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, as far as like tarot, how does that intertwine with the astrology?
Well, and one thing that I found out is a lot of people know tarot, and a lot of people know astrology, and a lot of people think they know tarot,
Mm-hmm.
and they're either tarot readers or they're astrologers. So I found that astrology and tarot uses the same Kemetic science that astrology and tarot used in the beginning when our ancestors created the Kemetic symbols. Certain Kemetic symbols that they created and are on the pyramids are still used today, just like the circle with the dot on the inside represents the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a symbol on the pyramids, and that's the same symbol we use today in hundreds of examples that you can find a circle representing the sun. And it also represents the light, life to
Mm-hmm.
itself.
Mm-hmm.
But so the symbols, the symbols for astrology and for tarot are basically the same symbols, just like the planet Mars. Some people call it a red planet. It's supposed to be the planet of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it represents the tower card in the tarot deck. So if you get a tarot reading and the tower card comes up, it means sudden catastrophe.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's going to change some things that you ain't got no choice because it was something that you didn't deal with. So Mars said he gonna just throw you out off the tower and make you start all over.
Yeah, that's something that I use when I'm talking with people and about
Yeah,
myself as well. I say, "Oh, I better get this done because I don't want to have a tower moment in my life." Yeah, because I don't think we
but
have any. We don't have any stoppage, kind of like when that happens.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But when we started the group, it was a few years ago, and it was me and a few black women
And it's your Facebook
at
group,
that.
right?
Huh?
Your Facebook group, right?
Right. It's a pro black group, and
Yeah.
that's where I kind of got a little bit. People started noticing me a little bit, but they were going in other groups and getting attacked, and
Mm.
and having a suffer abuse. So we said, let's create our own group. And so we got together just to create a group just so they could be on Facebook and talk about things without getting attacked.
Absolutely.
But so that was like, years, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So it kind of evolved into what it is today. So I still got I've got about 5 awesome sisters who are admins, and they like right now I have a restricted Facebook account because they periodically uh, uh, penalize me for a post or something that I had no knowledge about. Like one of them was a post about a health juice.
Mm-hmm.
So and they said it was spam, and so they put me in the penalty box.
Mm.
So when they put you in the penalty box, they reduce your news feed so people can't see your posts as much, and they reduce your members so you don't receive the members. Like before I was putting on a restricted account,
Mm-hmm.
we were receiving 150 members a day.
Wow.
Now we receive 5 to 10 members a day.
And this is a group of 90,000 people that are
Yeah, we've got
interested in
we've
this.
got 95,000 people right now.
Oh, that's incredible.
And so when you get that big, they start noticing you, and
Mm-hmm.
you become a target because we're pro black group, but we have all races. We have people from India, we have people from China,
Mm-hmm.
we have Europeans. So we've got all races in the group, and one of the rules is there's no racism involved in our group at all. So, but we are pro black.
Yeah, I think that there's
But
a
we,
lot of interest in the Kemetic science, being the
uh-huh,
originators of this and how everybody else has kind of made their astrology kind of bounce off this, and
yes,
even with the symbols in the pyramids that have been there for thousands of years, they knew what they were doing then. And so it's really interesting. I'm really glad to see that you have 95,000 members and you are, really helping the community. What would you say to
well,
people that what would you say to people that think that like this is it's dark, or they think tarot or astrology is not good? Um,
well, that they were programmed to think that. That's what I would say,
yeah.
because you know how the black was given a bad connotation, black ball, black list,
Hmm.
and so at that time, everything that had to do with ancient African culture was considered evil and bad. Whatever way they worship voodoo, whatever it was, they twisted it around to make it evil, where really they were worshiping nature. They were becoming one with nature, learning about nature, the nature around them, and trying to live within the laws of the nature and the earth, because they saw themselves as the caretakers
Mm,
of the planet.
mm,
But that job has been removed from them. So now the earth is under attack, and so the law of karma, which is a basic Kemetic principle, we call it the law of the universe, which cannot be avoided, holds true for a person as well as a nation. A person has karma for the acts that they do, but a nation, say America, has karma because of the abuse, the enslavement, removal of the land that they've done black people. They've got karma that has to be paid for. They could remove some of that karma by giving black people reparations or doing right by black people. So they could change that, but It don't look good.
I don't think it looks good. No, not with the war
No.
going on. Yeah. So, well, we need to get this message out here. Can you talk a little bit about like the just the elements, the different elements that are in tarot, and how those?
Well, and that's what I really like, because there's four elements. That's simple, huh? Just four.
Yes.
So there's fire, which represent the spiritual. There's earth. Earth represents the material. There's water. Water represents Pisces, the spiritual realm, the unseen, the feeling. And there's the air, which is earth, air, fire, and water. So there's four elements. So each sign is either feminine or masculine, and it can be ruled by one of the elements. For example, Sagittarius and Aries are fire elements, the element of fire. Pisces is the element of water. So Pisceans are sensitive and receptive, maternal. Air signs are like Libra, here, there, everywhere. You know, they're on the go. People say like Gemini's air sign. People say Gemini's is crazy. But they just, they can switch ideas in a heartbeat,
Absolutely.
Then you got the earth signs, and the earth signs are like Taurus and Capricorn, which rules the earth and the material possessions. I like to associate it with the word mundane. Mundane means that anything pertaining to the material world, such as you have to pay for your car note, you have to have electricity, anything that's got to do with the material, that's the earth. But the earth is nurturing, so those are the four elements, earth, fire, air, and water.
And what's your sign?
Well, I was born in the center, December 21st, when the sun changed from Sagittarius to Capricorn. So I was born the evening that the sun changed from Sagittarius to Capricorn. So I'm a little bit both. Each sign has 30 degrees. Right. So I was born 29 degrees Sagittarius. But my moon is in Capricorn, my rising sign is Capricorn, and my Mars is in Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is coded in the Bible as the devil. So when Europeans came across the planet Saturn, they didn't understand, and they called Saturn the devil in the Bible. But a lot of astrology is coded in, especially in Revelations.
Oh.
But so I have and so Saturn is also Father Time. It's also known as the lesson giver. So that kind of fits me, but yeah, Saturn rules Capricorn.
Yeah, I'm a Capricorn.
That's
as
me.
Well. So yeah.
Well, Saturn, Capricorn's usually, it's the symbol of the fish climbing to the top of the mountain. It's kind of lonely, but they usually find themselves in positions of authority as they grow older. Yes. Or even when they're younger, because they take more responsibility than the Aries or the Leo, who's roaming around having fun.
Could you explain a little bit about how about planets in the chart, so people would have a little
planets?
Yeah, planets in the chart.
Okay, well, so each planet represents something different. The most powerful planet would be the sun. So the sun rules Leo. If I'm reading a tarot deck, there's a card for the sun. If the sun comes up in a tarot reading, since the sun is the most powerful card in the deck, I can just turn the cards over basically and stop the reading, because it means everything is going to be perfect. Sunshine and happiness, that's how powerful the sun is. So the moon is kind of like the opposite of the sun. usually the sun is masculine, the moon is feminine. The sun represents the way other people see you,
Yes.
but the moon represents how you see yourself, your inner, you know. And so there's Mercury. Mercury represents the intellect, how you think. Your Mars represents what your motion, and Mercury represents communications also. Then we got Jupiter, and I like to think of them in doubles. I think of Jupiter and Saturn together. Jupiter is the planet of lucky through Sagittarius, so a lot of people consider Sagittarians lucky. So, and I've always been that way. That's why I'm not really material, because if I lose $100, I might find $200 the next day. I've just always been lucky, you know. So, and Saturn, I just think of Saturn, the planet Saturn, as the lesson giver, because Saturn spends a long time in a house or a sign, and it's what you have to learn in life. Saturn is what you have to learn. If you don't learn what house your Saturn is, and know your lessons, then Mars is going to come visit you, the tower, and disrupt everything and make you start all over.
Absolutely. I've seen it happen.
But those are basically our ancestors, our Kemetic African ancestors used only 7 planets. It's like the 7 candlesticks in the book of Revelations. Those are the 7 holy planets. And so those are the ones I just named for you, the 7.
And can you talk a little bit about having a natal chart? What would be beneficial for the people to understand,
well,
getting a natal chart done to see which planets are in where in their personal charts?
So one of the important things about having a natal chart is because the above is always changing. It's always changing. The moon changes signs every 2.5 days. So it's always doing something different. So those energies affect us. So when you know what the energy is, then you can go with the energy instead of going against the energy. As an example, I wanted to find a job, so I waited till Jupiter, which is the planet of luck and opportunity, transited my 10th house of the public, and which means, I would do good on interviews. And the first interview I got the job. Or if I'm waiting for some money, I might wait till Jupiter or the sun transit my 2nd house of money. So you can use the energies if you want to plan a wedding. You might not want to plan a wedding when the sun's in, say, Pisces. You might want to wait till it's in something like maybe in the 5th house of Leo. So the energies are always changing, and a person who is aware can look above and see what's going on above and know what's going on below. And also pertains to the earth, the nations of the earth, which is a different art of astrology that predicts the outcome of nations, because our sun is tied to a planet, the star called Sirius, that are the pyramids were aligned with Sirius A and Sirius B. And so as Sirius and our sun are really twins. So they go further apart and closer apart. And it's already been shown that as our sun Ra comes closer to Sirius, it affects events on Earth. And then it goes back, and then it comes back around and affects events on Earth. So right now they're kind of close together.
So does it affect
Russia.
It affects events negatively or positively?
It's negatively, I would say, because most of the time that I've read it's pertaining to wars or disasters. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's very powerful. So what advice would you give to somebody who was interested in getting into astrology or tarot?
Well, I know of a few free correspondence courses. I also myself I mentor students. I've mentored over 300 students in the past couple 2 or 3 months. I mean, I'm sorry, 2 or 3 years. And so and I don't I charge very little, so and where most astrologers they're going to charge you $400, $500, $600, and you can't even talk to them,
Mm.
you know. So I'm available to my students. I do conferences with them,
Yes.
and I'll spend an hour talking to them, sometimes, Uh, and I'm going to tell you something that's amazing that you might want to hear. Most of the women who call me for a tarot reading, and I'm tell you, I had one a few weeks ago. She gave me $400, another one $150 for my tarot readings. Most of them want to know, can they leave a husband and to find somebody else? So for me, it's about timing.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, you can leave your boyfriend, your man, but you have to leave him at the right time, So I can watch the planets and say, well, yep, you better go ahead and jump that fence or whatever and be gone. You got 30 days, So that's what my most common reading is about, relationships, So
Yeah, connections are really important to people, especially since last couple years with COVID, we haven't had those connections as much. And
yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah, I can see that. Um,
Uh, I, and let me give you another example.
sure, sure.
Uh, so one of my good friends knew I played with the tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
So he had stored some money away in his house and he couldn't find it. So he begged me to come over to his house to find the money, like I'm some kind of I got X-ray vision or something. And I said, man, that's not how tarot works. And he said, come on, man, I'm gonna give you $20. $20 was a lot of money at that time, and I was broke. So I got in the car and went to his house. So I did a tarot card reading. And the card that came up was one of the cards that was raising something to the sky. And so I took that to mean that the money was up high. I started in the kitchen cabinets. We got to the hall cabinets, and the money was in the top of the cabinet in the hall. So you never can tell how, tarot can be used. The tarot always tells the truth based upon there's no such thing as a coincidence. It's just the ability of the tarot reader. A lot of tarot readers, they look at a card and go off from the top of their head and start ranting and raving about something that happened to them, but it's a science. Each card has a specific meaning. So
Absolutely.
if they're not using reading the cards properly, using the correct interpretations, they're not giving you a good reading. They're just running their mouth, trying to get your money.
Well,
which we have a lot of tarot readers that are doing that.
Yeah, I've seen that. I think that you're really blessed with being able to do this and offering your services to be able to teach other people about Kemetic science, because I think it's really important.
So when I do a tarot reading, I do an astrology. I do the chart. I look at the current transits to see where the planets are, which houses, what's going on with them. And then I do the reading and kind of hook it up together. On average, they take about an hour, hour to do.
So I know that you also do solar returns for people. Can you speak about what a solar return is?
Okay, so your natal chart is fixed, but on your birthday, the sun returns to the position it was when you were born. That's why they call it return. It returns. Here's your chart, and here's the sun. So the sun returns right where it was when you were born. So that's the solar return. So at that time, your chart progresses. So it can advance. So a solar return represents the current progression and changes and adjustments for the upcoming year. It's only good for 1 year. So a solar return tells you what's going on in your personal chart for the next 12 months. And it's important to do one on a yearly basis. It gives you a different perspective of the upcoming year.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
So if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you? I know that you can offer tarot readings, solar returns. You're offering, teaching Kemetic astrology and Kemetic science, and then doing charts for people. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, my home phone number, cell phone number is 678-349-4564. And my email is Patton Jr. It's PATTONJR Franchel, my first name, at gmail.com. Also, I'm on Facebook, so you look for the Astrologer, and when it's a group and it has 90,000 people, you're in the right group. Also, you can just go to Google. So everybody has Google. So you just type in my name in Google, and a lot of, you'll find me in Google.
Okay, absolutely. And with the Astrologer, I know it sounds a little bit different than it's spelled.
Well, I spell it two different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Some people spell it ANKH.
How is it spelled on Facebook?
So on Facebook, it's ANKH.
Okay.
ANKH with a silent H, Unk. But sometimes people just spell it ANK.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's the same, but.
I just want to be able to have people reach out to you at the right place. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today on the Panda Bear Magic Podcast. I really appreciate.
Hey, I appreciate you talking to a brother.
Oh, absolutely. I want to get this information out to people because I think that the history has been changed a little bit, and I want people to understand where it really
a lot of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want people to reach out to you. I know you've personally have done my solar return.
They changed everything. They didn't leave nothing.
Yeah. So, anyways, everybody, thank you for listening today. Franchel Patton Jr. has been.
Rahana.
Yes.
Oh, I just want to remind you, I have a new report. It's for relationships. So if you ever have a love or you're interested in somebody, I can look at and compare y'all together and see what's good and what's bad.
Okay, I think that's beneficial.
No charge.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very sweet of you.
Right.
Yes.
Thanks for talking to me.
Yes, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Okay, you too.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Panda Bear Magic Podcast. A small reminder, please reach out to a loved one because you never know what someone is going through. Many blessings.